Well, you're from the name of your group is what?
Project Harmony.
Project Harmony?
Mm-hmm.
There was something that you said at the beginning though. What did you say?
Connections?
Connections, that's what it is. I
Mm-hmm.
believe I got your phone number from the FBI.
Okay.
I'm not for certain. I think, let's see, I got Connections, League of Human Dignity, Crossroads Counseling. Um, yeah,
Okay.
the thing
Sometimes
is,
these organizations don't know what we do. We do just work with children. Um, so if you're calling for yourself or someone you know, I could possibly give you some referrals.
well, ma'am, the thing is that at this point, I've already called literally hundreds of places, and I don't want to call hundreds more places to have to call hundreds more places to have to call hundreds more places. I don't want to have to get hundreds more referrals to hundreds more places that aren't going to do anything. You know, when I was a kid, nobody did anything about the abuse that I went through. As an adult, nobody cares.
I agree. It is very hard to find help. Um,
I have
what?
Asperger's.
You know what?
Asperger's.
Okay.
So I'm not the way that people expect me to be. They expect me to be normal, which we call neurotypical. Um, you guys only work with kids. That does kind of help with some of the situations that I'm dealing with, but the problem is that I literally just want to blow my head off every time that I make a call and they tell me, well, I'll send you to someone else. I literally, I hate my life. I hate the torture that it is. I hate the fact that people can do whatever they want to me by calling me mentally ill. They can assault me, they can falsely imprison me, they can slander me, they can do whatever the hell they want, but I don't have an advocate that can do anything. I literally just got an autism advocate 2 months ago after over 2 years of hell over a friend of mine getting shot in the head. Police made a lot of really big mistakes.
Have you had the opportunity to speak to your autism advocate?
I have. There ain't much she can do. I need help in person, and that's the thing is
And
that
right now that's not available, is it?
it's not. It hasn't been. I've literally been from one side of the country to the other to go see people who promised to help, and they're all meth heads or drug addicts or drug salesmen or alcoholics who are volatile. All of these people are volatile. And after listening to them scream, I'm not sure if you are real familiar with autistic traits, but I can't
I actually
function.
am. I have worked with autistic children, not adults, but children before, so.
I can't function through screaming. There's literally nothing that I can do about that. And the cops not only did, I'd like to say they didn't care, but they absolutely did care. They exploited the hell out of my disabilities. Without an advocate to speak up for me, someone to fight for my rights, the police got to do whatever they wanted, and so did the Bollinger family. Ted Bollinger raped his daughters and forced them to sell drugs on Pearl Street in Boulder, Colorado at 13 years old. And then she got shot in the head when she was 19. At least I exposed that son of a bitch. You don't rape people. It's just wrong.
No.
But the problem is that I can't turn off autism and I can't get them to treat me like a human being because, well, they don't want to understand autism. And through all of everything that I've gone through, it's pretty obvious that they are aware of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have exploited it in the way that they did. They assumed that I killed Natalie, and then when they found out that I didn't, they had already committed so many crimes that basically all they could do was keep me tied up in court and prevent me from speaking out about them and showing evidence in court. They took away my entire life. And then I lost all of my friends because they didn't want to understand. When you're autistic, people assume that you're retarded. I got an IQ of 172. That's not retarded. Retarded means slowed down. My brain goes too fast. And in my personal opinion, my brain doesn't go fast. It just goes too fast for everyone else. And oftentimes it goes too fast for my mouth, and my mouth has problems catching up. So that.
Can you tell me who your autism advocate is? If you feel comfortable giving me that information?
I can, but I'd prefer to. Do you guys have an email?
I do. I have my work email I could give you.
All right, that'll work because I can't look that information up on my phone while I'm using it.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on just a second. I have a question. Have you reached out to like Emmanuel? Has anybody from Emmanuel Hospital visited with you about like your advocate or giving you any additional resources or assistance?
Emmanuel Hospital?
Yes.
I've never even heard of the place. I've never even heard of the place.
Well, I could get you their information. They're probably the biggest facility in Omaha. Are you in Omaha?
No, ma'am. I'm in Chapel, Nebraska. I'm way over on the other end of the state.
Oh. What was the name of the town?
Chapel. CHAPPELL.
Okay, because Emmanuel is here in Omaha, but it's a hospital. But they have a great resource for all kinds of help. Were you working with anybody? Have you ever spoken to anybody at Project Harmony before regarding this?
I don't know, ma'am. I've made literally hundreds of phone calls. I'm pretty sure that quite a few of them, most of the places that I've gotten a hold of that would actually do something, they won't help me because I don't fit their criteria. Most of them either help just women or just children, or I've had like 5 or 6 of them that only help felons. Part of the issue that I have is that I was assaulted by an officer after Natalie was killed, because the way that the news painted it and the way that the Bollinger family painted it, they were trying to pretend like I was some sort of a terrible excuse for a human being. And they didn't find the guy who killed her until over a month after she was killed. And that whole time I had to deal with a lot of threats and harassment, and I still have to deal with those threats and harassment. But even though the officer assaulted me, they charged me with assault and did everything in their power to prevent me from actually filing a report against that officer. The important thing about that is that even though they charged me with felony assault against the police officer, I can't get the help from those felon advocacy groups because they dropped the charges against me. But I still get treated by the police nearly everywhere I go like I'm some sort of a terrible excuse for a human being because it's still on my arrest record.
Okay, so who's Natalie?
Natalie Marie Bollinger. She was my best friend, actually, and her and her sister were having arguments over jealousy issues and couldn't be honest. And I ended up with a broken phone as a gift for my birthday, and that broken phone destroyed my entire life. They played victim, pretended like I was some sort of a villain. They lied to people and started rumors, and those rumors got way out of hand, and nobody would look at the evidence. To this day, nobody will look at the evidence. Lots of people said, "Hey, Sean, if you're here, I'd help you." And then I went there and they didn't help me. They were too busy getting drunk or getting fucked up on meth. Meanwhile, I don't drink and I don't do meth, so I don't really fit in with those people. And I can't function through their screaming. And the problem with having to stay with meth heads and alcoholics is that they're screamers who don't hear anything but their own internal monologue. I needed an advocate to speak up for me because my rights were so violated, so incredibly violated, and continue to be so. I've literally been forced to break the law to try to force the police to do their jobs.
So you do have an autism advocate, though. So if you could get me her name and how to contact her or him.
It's a her, but like I said, I'm gonna need your email
right,
address.
I'm gonna give you that.
Yes,
actually, I'm gonna give you my supervisor's email address, and so that she can do some research, and then we'll get right back to you. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm gonna. Do you have something that you can write with so I can give you her email address?
Yep.
Okay. It's J like Jim.
Okay.
L like laugh. O-R E-N S like Sam. O-N like Nancy. So J Lawrenson at projectharmony.com. It's PROJECTHARM like Mary, O-N like Nancy, Y.com.
All right. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
I know you guys work with children and not adults, but I went through a lot of abuse as a child, and when I tried to tell on my predators as a child, some of my predators were staff in mental facilities. For telling on them, they pegged me as mentally ill. Now, some of the things that they tried to peg me with as far as mental illness goes, at the next facility that I went to, they realized that was bogus and threw it out immediately. But the problem is that the term mentally ill has been used to prevent me from having even the most basic of human rights here in the United States. I mean, I got a lot of people that I got to go after. Otherwise, these predators are allowed to do it to other people, and I can't have that.
Well, right.
I wasn't sure if that's anything that you guys could do anything about. I do know that when it comes to child molestation, there is no statute of limitations.
Well, I'm not sure how that works as an adult, but if yeah, we're gonna do some checking here. If you will email her that information and see what we can find out and get you some help, okay?
Yes, ma'am. The biggest help that I need right now is a lawyer. I can't defend myself, and I can't do most of the stuff that I need to be able to do, especially with the sheer quantity of it. There's no way that I'll be able to defend myself. There's no way.
Right.
I literally just got my resources back, but I'll message her and wait on y'all to call back.
All right. Thanks so much, Sean, and I wish you the best.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
All right. Bye.
When she first called, some of these calls, they say restricted, and they're fucking prank callers. So this one, I thought it was a prank caller, and when they called, obviously I don't have time to get it all set up and all that. It takes about a minute and a half to get my computer set up so that I can actually stream a video like this. Most prank callers, they'll either call up and breathe real heavy for about 16 seconds and then hang up, or they'll call up, say a couple real quick threatening things, and then hang up. And a lot of them call from restricted numbers. This lady, she called from a restricted number. So when she called, I did what I usually do when I get a restricted number. I say 2 or 3 sentences. Those sentences are all questions, and if nobody answers the question, I tell them to go fuck themselves. Tell them to stop fucking harassing me and to get a real fucking job, get a real life. Stop harassing innocent people. Stop victimizing the victims. Now, this lady here calling from a restricted number, obviously, that's what I was expecting from her, especially after already getting at least one of those calls, maybe 2 of them this morning. I don't know. I've looked through my phone history and find out, I suppose. The biggest issue here, though, is just the sheer number of these calls. I mean, why the hell is the FBI giving me phone numbers to shit like this? These guys don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. All of these places, none of them, it's none of their jobs. All of these people get government funding. Every single one of these places that I called gets government funding for a job that they don't do. Meanwhile, the government funding that they're given because they're supposed to be doing the things that they don't do. That's why they get the funding. That's why their numbers are given to these other government agencies to hand out. So if they're not doing the job that they're supposed to, why are they getting paid? Well, it all comes down to this. It's a racket. These people want free money. Just like the airlines wanted free money and the banks wanted free money. The shipping companies wanted free money and the car companies wanted free money. These people figured out how to get free government money without having to work. Now, some of these places, connections, they're supposed to work with kids. I hope they actually help those kids. If they help those kids the way that I've been helped by nearly all of these agencies, well, then obviously they wouldn't be helping kids now, would they? They would just be collecting a free check. Now, if they're collecting a free check in a situation with children, that's even worse in most people's minds. So they're a lot more likely to be on the straight and narrow in that particular situation. So you guys missed about the first minute and a half of the conversation. I do apologize. And by the way, hello, Miss Pam, as well. Thank you for typing that. I didn't reply because I was on the phone. The thing is that I'm trying to change laws. I'm trying to change laws so things that happen to me don't happen to others. What Natalie did was play victim. There's a big difference between playing victim and being a victim. I was victimized. She was chastised. You know what the difference is? Well, I'll tell you. If Natalie were my own kid, now let's say, for the sake of argument, because we all know that she was an adult when she died. She was an adult when we started hanging out. Now, a lot of people like to try to twist the facts. Say, oh, well, they've been hanging out since she was 13. No, we didn't hang out when she was 13. I was busy trying to run her and her sister off away from them fucking drug dealers. Maddie Boa, too. By the way, all three of them were selling drugs. Imagine that. But if she was my own daughter, my very own daughter, and I found out that she had done something like what she did to me, I'd be pissed. I really would. Matter of fact, I might be pissed off enough to drag her down to the police station. I might be pissed off enough to have her committed. Yeah. If someone was to get a hold of me and say, hey, Sean, you're right, Pam, it is disgusting for him to get his daughters to sell drugs. That was Ted Bollinger. That's the kind of guy he is. By the way, last year on my birthday, he went on a high-speed chase through multiple states with Natalie's twin sister in the vehicle and almost got her killed. He was apparently threatening to throw children out of the vehicle. Luckily, there were no children in the vehicle, but that's the thing. If a man's willing to rape his own kids, yeah, he's willing to throw his own kids out of a vehicle to save his own skin. And he was also busted with 18 grams of methamphetamine at the time. He's obviously not working with all of his gears upstairs, is he? I'm sorry, Pam, I don't know. Well, actually, that's not true. I absolutely 100% know why it is that they had kids. Let me read what Pam wrote here. It says, can't believe it. Why do people have kids if they're addicts? Because they're on fucking drugs and alcohol and they're horny. They're not thinking about a condom. They're thinking about getting their drugs and having some sex. Most of the women that I know, most of the women that I personally know in real life who are addicts have admitted to me that they have sex for their drugs or have in the past. That's how you end up with kids when you're an addict. It's not that they want kids. I mean, obviously, with the way that Rose treated Natalie and Alicia, obviously she didn't want to have kids. Obviously, Ted didn't want to have kids either. He just wanted to capitalize on their looks. You know what's more disgusting than a father molesting his own daughter? That daughter protecting him. Protecting him from his own sins. Protecting him from having consequences for his own sins. Well, I was treated like I'm some sort of a druggie. Literally, through all of this, I have never been found with drugs. Imagine that. You're right, Pam. It is fear of him. But it's not just fear of him. See, here's the thing. Danica's scared of him too. So's Rose. So's Shelley. Matter of fact, by the shit that they pulled in 2018, they pretty much guaranteed that Ted can actually kill them and get away with it. Because those women are stupid, and that's not saying that all women are stupid. Just most women are stupid, just like most men are stupid. Stupidity is not gender specific. Intelligence is not gender specific. The ability to critically think is not gender specific. You're right, Pam. A lot of victims won't talk out through fear. There's also a lot of people who aren't victims but are afraid of becoming victims. There's a guy named Jace Jepson here in town. A lot of people let me know that they're afraid for their friends, they're afraid for their family, or they don't want to lose any friends. Chelsea Worsing, she's one of my witnesses. She was witness to plenty. However, Katie Whiteman, somebody who wasn't a witness to any of it, somebody who just hated me because of the slander and didn't care if what she was doing, her meddling, was destroying people's lives. She didn't give a holy fucking goddamn. I never once harmed any of them, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter that I didn't harm them. What mattered is that they hated me over slander by a druggie. And Natalie Bollinger was a druggie. Just like Alicia is, just like Ted is, just like Danica, just like Rose, just like Shelley. It's a whole family full of addicts. A lot of people offered to help, and really they weren't interested in helping. What they were interested in doing was antagonizing me until I react and then playing victim. The problem is that they couldn't get me to react the way that they wanted me to. For 7 months, they tried. For 7 whole months after Natalie was killed, they did everything that they could to elicit the reaction that they wanted. And when it didn't happen, they just kept at it. The same exact tactics over and over and over again. Threatening me, threatening my friends, threatening my family, threatening me, threatening my friends, threatening my family. Bashing me on Facebook, bashing me on Facebook, bashing me on Facebook. Picking out little bits and pieces of what I said that they can try to use to twist, contort, and manipulate people into harming me, into hating me, into helping to cover up the wrongdoing of the Bollinger clan. I have been in a constant state of war with the United States government since I turned 6 years old. It's something I'm not sure any of y'all are aware of or even care about. You're right, Pam, they should be. If they were decent people, if these were actual Christians, like they claim to be, first of all, they would have some forgiveness. Now, I forgave them for the things that they did, but they continue to do those things. So, yeah, I'm not going to forgive you a second time. You're going to need to ask me for fucking forgiveness. And no, I don't think these people are going to heaven if there's a heaven. Here's the thing about repenting. Repenting means that you acknowledge that you did something wrong and you're trying to make up for it. If you wait until right before you die, after spending an entire life, let's say Alicia Bollinger dies when she's 93. All right? So if she dies when she's 93, right before she dies, she confesses. They actually say profess by mouth in the Bible, but whatever. If she confesses her sins right before she dies, then she magically gets to go to heaven. No, because you're not repenting. If you repented, if you truly repented, you wouldn't have allowed a human being to go through all of that suffering, so many years of suffering. No, what you're doing at that point, saying that before you die, is hoping that that maneuver is strategically placed enough that you'll get to go to heaven. But if you look at that scenario, yeah, obviously, you didn't repent. You were afraid of the consequences here on earth. That's what it really was. And then at the end of your life, now you're worried about going to hell. So your confession is entirely for selfish reasons. And it's entirely too late. You're right, Pam. But also, most people, when they do something messed up, they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want people to think that they're any less perfect than they try to put on their face to be. I don't paint on my face. This is what I am. See them bags under my eyes? Yeah, those are real. See the crow's feet? Those are real. Look inside of my mouth. 0 teeth. Those gums are real. My brother calls these my Jew curls. I got them on each side, and if I get my hair wet, they end up coming down here all twirly twirly. So I pull them out, put them over my ears. That's actually me. That's actually a part of my body. I'm not photoshopped. I'm not dolled up. I'm not in pretty $200, $300, $400, or $1,000 garments. Everything I'm wearing right now is secondhand. Not true. Not true. I bought this hoodie for $7 at Walmart right after Natalie was killed. But the jacket, secondhand. My pants, secondhand. My shirt, you're gonna love this one. Up here on Hilltop, it's pretty much an old folks home. The lady next door to me is like 24 or 25, I think, and she's disabled. Um, there's another lady who's 22, and she's also disabled. But other than that, they're pretty much old people. So this shirt here isn't exactly appropriate. So why do I wear this shirt? Not all the rest of mine are fucking filthy. Matter of fact, this one's filthy at this point. The problem is that they have twisted, contorted, and manipulated the law to the point that literally there's no such thing as justice. You can either buy your way out or you can't. The police are less likely to go after someone that they know can buy their way out. If they go after somebody who can't buy their way out, that person doesn't have the resources to defend themselves or to get an honest day in court. That's why they love us. That's why they love the homeless, especially. Now, I don't get to call myself homeless. This is sort of my place. And I don't get to make the rules. I'm not allowed to smoke in here. If I wanted to invite a friend who's in a shitty situation to come stay with me for a month, I can't do that. I'll get in fucking shit trouble and fucking booted out of here. Would I do it anyway? Oh, hell yes. Not only that, but I know for a fact at least 2 of my neighbors would help me get away with it. If it was a situation where Well, that person couldn't stay here the entire time. Now, mind you, the rules here from Cindy are that you are only allowed to have somebody stay for 3 days, which is still nicer than the way that it was last time I lived here, because she was telling me back then that if I wanted somebody to stay the night, they had to fill out all the paperwork to live here. But then there's the book that they give you, the thing with all the rules here that tells you what the rules actually are. And the rules actually say that I could have somebody stay here for up to 14 days in any 3 month period. So if somebody had to stay here for a month, well, I could have them stay here for 14 days, see if they could share time between at least two of my neighbors. If it was a woman, there's possibility of four neighbors here who would help with that. With a guy, yeah, two maybe, and one of them, um, yeah, I wouldn't send a guy over there even if I trusted him. And that's not because the lady's a bad person or anything like that. It's because I don't know my neighbors well enough, and at this point, I'm afraid for men. I've seen too many men get victimized for things that they didn't do. And before I'm gonna send a man over to a woman's house, I want to know 100% for certain that there is some way of documenting the situation, so that if he actually does something wrong, that he will go away for it. But also, so that if somebody wants to go telling lies about him to try to get him locked up, that, well, there's evidence that he didn't actually do that. And one of my neighbors explained to me that, and I do believe that she's one of those people who would let somebody in like that, but she also explained to me that she's schizophrenic. And when she started explaining it to me, I realized her doctor was a fucking idiot. She doesn't have schizophrenia, she has MPD, multiple personality disorder. Actually, it's split personality disorder because she only has two. But she doesn't have any recollection of her other personality, but she does know her other personality's name because people tell her. And not trying to be disrespectful, but that is probably not a safe environment to be sending somebody into. I don't know if she's had trauma involving men before. I don't know if she's been raped or if she's been beaten. And if she has, sending a man into that situation is probably a dangerous situation for both of them. It's probably going to result in some comfort issues on both parties' behalf. There's also the fact that the alternate personality may not even know that she's allowing a dude to stay there. So that alternate personality could do any number of things. I'm lucky. I am who I am. I am always Sean. I don't turn into Lord Xavier's shadow or any sort of crazy nonsense like that. Um, as far as most of these predators go, they're in a position of power and they've used their power to get away with it. From Sheriff Scott DaCosta, who didn't start off abusing his power to cover his own wrongdoing. He literally hadn't done anything wrong when I went and talked to him the first time. The first time I went and talked to him was months and months and months after Natalie was killed. It was months after my grandma's funeral that I spoke to him for the first time. The first crimes that he committed were to protect his own officers, from their own wrongdoings, to protect them from the wrong things that they did to me. And that was with Jordan Anderson to begin with. And then later on, Cody Selhorst, when I tried to turn him in. And Officer Jared Hahn, when I tried to turn him in. He makes every excuse. On the one hand, he tells me, and all of this is recorded here on YouTube. Those of you who have gone through the videos have gotten to hear these things. Sheriff Scott DaCosta, actually, at one point in time, he asks me why it is that I didn't bring it to him first. I did bring it to him. He and his officers lied to Jen Beebe to have me committed to prevent me from having it documented. I went to the state patrol about the situation. They said that they'd do some investigating and get back to me. They never got back to me. They never did any investigating. I mean, the thing is that all of this is one big giant hornet's nest that I have to deal with, of one predator after another, after another, after another, after another. Jace got a hold of me yesterday, and he explained to me that he's afraid for his family. He's afraid that he'll lose his family if he tells the truth. That's fucking crazy. But he's not the only one. Mandy Hughes is afraid for her family. Alyssa Ravenwater are afraid for her family. Are any of these people afraid that I would hurt their family? No. Laura Nelson is still fucking petrified. And by the way, when it comes to harassing people, I told you guys, when I commit a crime, I'll admit it. I harass Laura. I do. When I have a fucking meltdown because all of this shit happened because people didn't come forward when it made a difference. Oh yeah, I get a hold of all those people who said that they would come forward, said that they would help. And I beg them to fucking kill me, goddammit. I tell them that they're terrible people, they're horrible people, and I hope that the things that I had to go through, I hope they have to go through it too. Oh my God, people hate that. I can't believe you would say a thing like that, Sean. Really? I'm the dude who's into equality. I'm the dude who is going to get up in a white man's face if he is racist and say, hey, I don't like that word. I'm the guy who, if I see a racially motivated crime happening, I'm going to go get my ass whooped to put a stop to it. I have seen black people assault white people for being the wrong damn color because they were pissed off because a white officer just harassed them because they're the wrong damn color. So these black people who got harassed by an officer want to go take it out on a white person. That was my entire youth, by the way. And I've stepped into that situation to protect a white guy from a racial beatdown. Were those black folks racially profiled? Probably. That was in Boulder, Colorado. That happened in Boulder, Colorado. Nowhere else in my adult life have I ever had to stand up to two racist black people to defend a white guy. I was also there for the whole situation, start to finish. But also, the reverse is true. If I see white people being racist assholes to somebody who's black, yes, I'm going to defend the black man because that's the right thing to do. Now, Jace, in order to get him to come forward, I've been a complete asshole to him. Now, it's not like he hasn't. I mean, there's a recording right here on YouTube with me and Jace, and he gave me permission. That's in the text messaging. He gave me permission to post it up and leave it up. He's fine with that. He's afraid of having to go in and say those things himself in court. He's afraid that he'll be tied up with the courts for at least 3 years, which He's actually right about that. He's actually legitimate in that fear. Now, that's not to say that he would have to go to court every single day. There's a chance that over the course of that 3 years, he might have to show up in court not once but twice for 4 hours apiece. That's 8 hours of his life that are right down the toilet. But then again, it's only 8 hours. You're not going to lose your family over 8 hours. You're not going to lose your life over 8 hours. You're really not losing out on much. If you are doing the right thing for 8 hours, you are doing a fucking ton to make this world a better place. Because you're sticking up for somebody who you know is telling the truth. But I have to understand, and me and Chris Stegman had this conversation last night. It's like, we were talking about the difference between loyalty and honor. Loyalty above all else except honor. And I posed him a couple of questions that were, well, based on loyalty or honor. The decision that you make at the end of it is based on whether or not you're an honorable person. If you choose loyalty instead of the truth, you are not an honorable person. Now, he said, if somebody has a family, then yeah, I'd probably give them a free pass. So many people with families prey on that. They know that. They want help because they have kids. They can use their kids to drum up help. And then after they've gotten that help, because you felt sorry for them because they got kids, they talk about how they're doing it all themselves. What great parents they are, how much they bust their asses, how wonderful of parents they are, tooting their own damn horn left, right, center. Not saying a damn thing about the fact that, hey, I just sent you $800 or $600, $400, $200, whatever it happens to be. Now, then there's the part where a lot of times money isn't help. It's temporary stopgap. When all of this happened and I had my income taken away and my housing taken away, yes, I needed money that whole time. I still need more money than I'm getting. Over time, hopefully, I'll be able to accumulate part of what's built up because it is over $10,000 that's backed up in the last almost 2 years. $10,000 that every 6 months or so, I will get $2,400 of it. Over time, I will be able to buy everything that I need in order to basically set everything up in here to be a legal workshop, make prints. I'll have a printer over here in the corner. Hopefully, a printer scanner if they're not too expensive. Speaking of, I need to get on today and order one of those online while there's still money on my card. Paid my rent yesterday. I'm in a lot better situation, both physically and mentally, than I was a month ago, even. But I still think about killing myself every moment of every day. While I was calling the FBI every single time that they hung up on me, I thought about trying to find some place that has a gun, getting on YouTube, sticking that gun in my face, titling the thing For Alicia and the FBI, and then blowing off my goddamn head in front of all of you. Instead, I continued to make phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call. You're harassing us. You goddamn right I am. You goddamn right I am. I'll tell you what, if Jesus did the things that you son of a bitches did, dear FBI fuck nuggets, if Jesus did the things that you did, I would rip Jesus' ass. I would harass Jesus. I would harass Jesus to the end of the earth. If you're going to do wrong things and you're going to harm innocent people, I believe they have every fucking right to harass you. That is my personal opinion. Especially for as long as they are being punished and harmed over your slander. Yes, I believe that they should have every right to harass you. Now, at what point do I think during a situation like this that somebody should stop harassing them when they get an honest court date? When I am allowed an honest court date, that means Mandy Hughes' testimony. Somebody else calling. Hello? 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 Hey, you're obviously not a mouth breather. And you're obviously not one of them punks who's gonna outright threaten my life. You're just gonna call me and not say anything. Tell you what, fuck nugget. When you grow some balls, my address is 702 Hayward Avenue, Chapel, Nebraska 69129. Apartment 103 is mine. My name is Sean Schwartz, SHAWN, SCHWARTZ. You want to put a hole in my head, you come and get me. You want to cut my head off, you come and get me. You want to drag me behind your vehicle with a rope until my head pops off, you come and get me. I won't fight you, I'll let you do it. But if you're gonna be a fucking coward, you can lick a fucking dick, you skeezy cockfuck. What a bunch of fucking disnuts. If nobody stands up to these predators, they get to do it to somebody else, and that's my concern. That is my biggest concern. That is why I am extremely pissed off at so many people who promised that they were going to help and then fucked me over. Many of them because they're afraid of the cops. Candace Bondurant, the last thing that she expected was for cops to come harass her while she took her kids to school, and then it worked. Especially in a small town, you don't fucking do that. Now, what people were involved specifically in that situation? I can tell you all of the people who were involved in that situation. There was myself, first of all. There was Rochelle Shelley Campbell, second. There was Candace Bondurant, Officer Michael Beard, and Brandon Jepson, and one 911 dispatch operator. That's how many people were involved in just that one situation. That was all just in one day over one situation, and that one situation was Shelley's pocket dial. Oh yeah, there was also Rand Ingersoll who was involved, and her ex-husband Ryan Ingersoll was involved. I was trying to find Miss Shelley a safe place. Obviously, if the police were willing to just let her get beaten to death, and they were smiling about it. Sorry, it was just one officer, so saying they, I know for some of you it's going to bother you, but also I have some friends that are alternate lifestyle, and they are trying to get me to stop saying he or she. And I'm going to tell you, it's not working out too well for me because they is not singular. Yeah, I grammar Nazi on myself. So I spoke with my public pretender. He basically let me know that there ain't a goddamn thing he can do, and that's not true, by the way. There's a lot that he can do. Also, I spoke with my advocate for over an hour yesterday, and the conversation we had let me know that, first of all, she was aware that I was recording. And no, I wasn't recording yesterday, but she was aware that I had made recordings and put them on the internet. Um, Also, with the words that she used and the fact that she's used them on several occasions before, it lets me know that she's scared of being recorded. And with most people who are scared of being recorded, um, well, they lied to me. Either they lied to me or they lied to the cops or they lied to the public. And that's the thing, is that I don't know who they lied to. I don't know if it was me that they were lying to or the police that they were lying to. I do know that I know for a fact that they lied to me. Um, that's pretty easy to figure out. But when you listen to the conversations that I recorded with these people, and then you look at our text messages between each other, and a lot of the other stuff that happened after they literally didn't keep their word and I wasted all my resources believing them, well, they're two completely conflicting stories. That goes for most of these people. Um, Tabitha Michelle Cook and Mandy Hughes, um, Alyssa Rainwater, uh, Miss Peaches, aka Kayla Trujillo. Um, and I'm sorry I keep going off tangent, but that weed eater out there is driving me nuts. They really need to come out with the edge here. It's time. But that's something that a lot of people who are autistic have that issue. Most people who are autistic have that issue. Um, I was listening to there's a doctor in Colorado. She's a professor at Colorado State University. She got her doctorate not in being a medical doctor, but she's a doctorate of her specific science, which is bovines. You know what bovines are? They're cows. I'm living in cow country. We got a feedlot on the east end of town. Anytime the wind blows west, we get smell money. They call it the smell of money. It's really just dookie. But this woman, her name is, let me see it. I'm pretty sure that I posted something up on my YouTube. Her name is Temple Grandin, and this is called The Autistic Brain. And in this, she actually talks about nearly all of the things that I try to explain to you guys that you tell me just aren't true. They can't be true, or I'm just making excuses. This woman outlines most of the stuff that I've told you guys. She's autistic as well. Unlike me, she was diagnosed at a very young age. She was diagnosed younger than I was supposed to be diagnosed. Because the first discussion of diagnosing me with Asperger's, actually, it was an argument between whether or not I had Asperger's or if I was just autistic, and that took place in 1987. And I want to say 1987. But that's the first time I ever remember it being brought up. Now, I fought my best to try to make sure that I didn't get that label. I saw how autistic kids are treated, even the ones who are highly intelligent and highly functional. They're still treated the same as people who are low functioning autistic folks. Now, low functioning autistic folks do tend to get more violent, especially if they're immodal, which means they can't speak. But to treat all autistic people in that way because you're an uneducated fuckhead, that's not just immoral. That right there tells me that you need to be thrown in a cage like an animal because you can't treat a human being like a human being. My brain doesn't just work differently than yours. My brain works better than yours. Under the circumstances that I've been through, I mean, most of you guys would have blown your head off a long time ago. Most of most of you have no clue what's been going on for the last 3 years. You pick up little bits and pieces. Once in a while, you hop on here because you want to be entertained. You're not going to do a goddamn thing about any of this stuff that's happening, but it's entertaining to you. Um, the point to all of this is that when you can call somebody mentally ill and then get away with harming them repeatedly because you called them mentally ill, something needs to be done. There needs to be an advocate there and present with every single person who is considered mentally ill who has to go into a courtroom. A public pretender is not going to defend them. Not without somebody in that courtroom with them who is going to ensure that their rights are not violated. Mine were, for surely, repeatedly. Was that my choice? But no. Good night. By the way, I'll be on later. I got some stories about shit that happened yesterday and the day before. A lot happened yesterday and the day before. And tell you a little bit about my new lawnmower and what a pain in the ass that was and the people that helped me out with it. It's not a new lawnmower, it's a piece of trash lawnmower, but I need transportation. I don't have a vehicle, I can't afford insurance, and later, Pam. You have a pleasant day, and hope to see you on another time. There's also the situation with Uncle D. That's Dennis Dickens. Um, so I'll tell you about that as well. I need to go down, and there was a flat tire on my horse trailer. So I had somebody help me out a little bit yesterday so I could get it off my horse trailer. Now I gotta go try to get it mounted. Um, So the first thing I have to do right now is I got to walk down to my new mower, and then I have to walk down to the parts store so that I can exchange my old battery for a new one, and well, the core charge anyway. Uh, and then I will have a functional driving vehicle that I can drive around town. I don't need to license it because it's not illegal for you to drive around a lawnmower. You don't need a license to drive a lawnmower, even on Main Street. Although you're not supposed to drive a lawnmower on Main Street, it's frowned upon. It's not illegal, and they're not going to bug you about it if you just cross the road. Which, yeah, I'm not going to go joyriding down Main Street at 4 miles an hour. The speed limit's 25. That's a jackass maneuver. Now, if I encounter a situation like I did with the police in 2018 here in this town, I will not only drive that thing down Main Street as slow as possible. I'll try to find one of them swathers that they had on the south end of town. They're about 14 foot wide before you fold them out. And I'm pretty sure that the lawnmower would still pull that and it would go even slower. And I can take up both goddamn lanes of traffic. So let the people of Chapel, Nebraska hope and pray the cops don't pull that kind of shit today.